Alright, I feel like this video has been a long time coming. Well, I feel like eventually it'll be asked. Emo versus goth, the difference, and so forth. Emo is not goth. Don't compare the two. Emo and goth are different by far. In my personal opinion, in listening to emo bands like, well, there's a list of them, but My Chemical Romance is one. I might consider Death Cab for Cutie one. I actually like, Dashboard Confessionals. I actually like their, one of their songs. I think the All American Rejects are in there. The emo bands that I've heard, they're so whiny. So whiny. I can't stand them. I can't. I don't know how goth and emo got connected ever. I think it's just in the dress, the look. In my opinion, the goth look is more about looking dead and weird. Like obscura, strange, dark, tormented, disturbed. I think of like skulls and just a general look of death. I mean, that's the general theme of goth. That's what it has been. Gothic Victorian writers, and I mean, hello. Emo, I don't think carries that type of thing. Emo and goth, I don't even know how it. Like I said, I think it has to do with the all black wearing shit and the makeup wearing shit. But emo is not goth. It just isn't. They do both have a punk element, but as goth kind of went into the 90s, it started kind of shifting into something else. And a lot of modern goth that you hear, like Whispers and Shadows, Tunes of Dawn, Exit to Eden, Blood and Tears, they don't really have that punk sound. Even Lestat, it doesn't really have that punk sound. A lot of modern goth was defined by 90s goth, which was kind of, still had a little bit of that punk element, but it was really kind of getting more into that, like, really focusing on that eerie feel of it. And you can see that in the Brotherhood of Pagans, you can see it in Corpus Delicti, you can see it in Cinema Strange, you see it in Switchblade Symphony. I think Switchblade Symphony had a huge impact on what goth culture was going to become at the end of the 90s into the new millennium. I think they had a huge impact on that. I don't know if Switchblade Symphony takes credit for that or realizes that they had that kind of impact with their electronic sound in the 90s. But really, that's kind of the direction that goth went in. And really, it's not a far stretch. Goth gave birth to EBM Industrial. They're kind of one and the same, almost. I mean, Skinny Puppy, technically, by like actuality, is a industrial kind of rivet head band, but a lot of the times it falls under the goth category because they're so dark. Gotta love Skinny Puppy. But there are like goth bands out there that are really hard to classify, and some people, if that you were to listen to them, like Gene Loves Jezebel, if you were to listen to Gene Loves Jezebel and you didn't know anything about the goth culture, you'd probably be like, this isn't goth. Same with The Mission and the Chameleons. It's with the Chameleons, you pay attention to the lyrics. You go, oh yeah, okay, I get it. If you understand what Gene Loves Jezebel used to be back in the day, then you go, okay, I get it. But, you know, some of the goth bands that are in the goth category, they have been hard to... A lot of people wouldn't understand it. They'd be like, why is this goth? This just sounds like general rock to me. And it's like, well, some things happened. And I think Gene Loves Jezebel has been constantly trying to break away from the goth label, but we keep following them. Sorry, Michael and Jay Aston. But in the sound of goth, it's a very bass-heavy music genre. And when I say bass, I don't mean like electronica. It's not like that. I would recommend looking at Corpus Delicti's Absent Friend, because you get a really good view of the bassist playing in there, and you can hear that bass sound that is really indicative of goth music. Snare snapping is another big thing in the goth music genre, especially in the early music that was being done. The snares like, and you know, you do have the incorporation, a lot of incorporation, especially into the 90s and with American goth bands, the incorporation of like pipe organs and cello and choir and kind of old-time instruments to give that gothic Victorian feel. I don't really see a lot of gothic Victorian feel in the emo genre. It's not happening. It's not happening. And goths are not particularly whiny, they're mopey. It's a nihilistic perspective. I mean, I saw a meme from the Addams Family. It was Morticia Addams and... Whoa, shit, I can't remember the name of the husband. Oh, Morticia Addams and her husband. They were sword fighting, and it says, care less, wear more black, love more often. I mean, yeah, we're a group of nihilists. We don't believe in a whole lot. We don't have a lot of faith. We're kind of glowery. We're kind of mopey. Yeah, I laugh at things. I have a good time. I'm not, like, always a party pooper, but, you know, I do kind of focus on the negative things, and I feel like the majority of society focuses way too much on optimism, that they forget about all the pessimistic things that happen in life. And I think it's kind of a reflection of society. It's kind of a mockery of society. I don't think goth is really political. I think it's a social statement. It's a statement against society and social norms that are weird and kind of poking fun at them. Sometimes, you know, goth does get into the political stuff. Like, to quote Black Tape for a Blue Girl, the world could talk, insane men ruled, our stomachs kept on grumbling, but we had fun, we danced a lot if you don't count all the stumbling. And there's others, but I think mostly it's social. It's commentary, it's anti-commentary on social. And here's the rub of it. Is any time in mainstream culture, people get those negative feelings, they try to immediately dismiss them. To the point where they don't want to acknowledge that anything bad happens in life. And when they get these negative feelings, they think that there's something wrong with them. Like they need to go on antidepressants, mood stabilizers, SSRIs, and stuff like that. And I feel like the goth community is here to say, no, it's normal. In reality is comprised of this: pessimism and optimism. And it's got its equal share of both. Sometimes it tilts on an axis. I mean, sometimes it's more pessimistic than optimistic. Sometimes it's more optimistic than pessimistic. But the fact that mainstream society focuses so much on optimism, it's almost like something has to be around to remind you of the dark and twisted. Not to join side with the dark and twisted, to quote Roz Williams, "I have come to rule the dark for light." And I perceive Roz Williams as the king of goth. I mean, he should be the figurehead, the male figurehead for goth. Roz Williams. And if you were to ask me who I think the female should be, the female figurehead for the goth movement should be, I would say probably Susie Sue from Susie and the Banshees, or Guillotine Damone. I'm kind of, I don't know, I'm torn on that one. There's a lot of female goths that I find very talented and are really cool and have done a lot for the goth community. I would say Eva O. But sometimes with her I'm kind of hit or miss. But goth isn't whiny, and I don't think emo is about that dark, tormented side. I think they're more just
like, my feelings are hurt.
And that's not really like how goth is. Goth is more just like, that's fucking bullshit. Look at this twisted shit over here. You've got this country that's like killing children and it's just like wicked. Let's talk about all the horrible things. Let's talk about the rape and murder of Maud Brown that happened. She was impaled as a vampire. How fucked up is that? That's, to me, more goth. Not... My feelings got hurt, so I'm gonna write a song. No. Actually, this does fall in line with a poem that I wrote called Bar Chat. Let me read it. Alright, here we go. Bar Chat. Looking all around the room, all I see are faces of those that live some kind of romanticized dream. I can hear the questions flowing from their minds like it is a question flowing from their mouths as they look at me, yet one question comes to their mind. Why am I so in love with dark things? Why do my interests and fascinations dwindle on the side of morbid, glowery, depressing thoughts and images? As I stare down at the sweaty beer glass in my hand, I look over in the corner of the bar. There, a woman weeping and her friend there to comfort her woes. She'll be okay tomorrow. That's how it works in the real world. Her fiancé has just disengaged and crashed any wedding plans they may have had. As I look around at all the smiley, happy faces, it's like they're all living in some sort of Partridge Family Cleaver Beaver ideology, and nothing will break them from their hyper-focused Disney world. They ask, why am I so dark? They who do not know of truck stop rapes and murders. They are all lied to. They get used for sex and money and wake up the next day still stuck in some Christian fantasy 70s TV show. Some are leaving alone with broken hearts tonight. Some are leaving with false pretenses. There's a guy in a plaid shirt. He raped a girl. But everyone sees him as an okay guy. That woman over there with the 80s styled hairdo at the bar, she's flirting with the man and she thinks he's going to be her next man. It's all a lie. I look down at my beer. Some would say it's half empty. Some would say it's half full. I say there's still some shit in it and I'm not done. Whether it's half full or half empty, I don't know. What I do know is that it's disappearing halfway and not filling up halfway. I don't know what the difference is. I just keep looking around at the drunk across the table from me, trying to come up with the answer to his question. Why are you so gothic, he says. I never really thought of it as being dark. I always thought of it as being tormented. I mean, here I am, in the middle of the bar with a bunch of sociopaths that have just justified every lie they've ever told. Every rule they have ever broken has a reason in their lives. The massive amount of debt they're all in. But hey, even though they are all heartbroken, lonely, and no matter how screwed up their reality is, it's a perfect reality and a reason to celebrate every day. To them, I just don't think that evil even exists in their world. And if it does or did, they don't want to talk or think about it. Looking down at my glass that's now only 1/16 of the whole left, or 1/16 in it, whichever way you want to look at it. In my eyes, it's only 1/16, and it's about to be gone unless I can fill it again. But I just don't have the change in my pocket to fill it, nor do I want to. Just saying, even if I wanted to, I couldn't. With that, I take my last swig. I look at the man across from me and say, it's not that I like dark. It's just that we live in a dark world, and I'm waiting for a piece of light. It's a hard thing to find in all this chaos, because the chaos thinks it's justified, and thinks the askewed is making things all right. No, sir, I don't like darkness. I'm just tormented by your world that is blissfully unaware of all the evil in it. He puts his hand out to stop me from leaving. Wait, he says. I'll buy you another round. Like that's just okay. No, I say. I put on my leather hat. I have to leave this. This place depresses me. My boots clink with every footstep. I'm sure in that man's eyes, hell, I don't know him, but he doesn't realize as the door slams shut, he will never see me again. And I don't think he really cares or gives it much thought. If he did, he'd come after me and make much more of a convincing argument for me to stay other than a stupid beer. I don't see I don't see emos writing stuff like that. their stuff is more like
I don't know why you called me a loser when I've done all these things for you. I've given up this for you, I've given up that for you, and then you just throw me aside. Well, whatever. I'm gonna find someone new, but I can't because my heart's just glued to you.
I don't know, something like that is what I would imagine emo to be. They are related to punk. They both are. We both wear all black and like Jack Skellington, whatever. Emos. Go and watch a movie called Gothic. Go and watch Roz Williams' Pig. Watch Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. Actually, they might actually enjoy that. That's a really good movie. You can like that and not be goth. Watch Suspiria. Watch Inferno. Watch The Mother of Tears. But anyway. So there might be some movies that goths and emos probably jointly like. Probably. But some of those movies I just named, they probably wouldn't like them, especially Roz Williams' Pig, which is a really hard movie to find. I actually have it on DVD. I'm quite proud of that. Anyway, like, share, subscribe, comment. If there is anything you would like to see me cover, leave it in the comment section below. And with that, I'm out.